Welcome to the Bold Analysis. I want you to take time and watch this podcast. If you like well-analyzed politics, I want to tell you that this will be an interesting podcast just for you. All the 43 members of parliament drawn from the larger Mount Kenya region who held a meeting with the Deputy President Kindiki in the current residence. None of them have shared any photo from Karen, the meeting in Karen. Not even the majority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah, and you can take a minute and look at Kimani Ichung'wah's Facebook page. He shared everything that happened on Thursday, but that meeting with Kindiki, none of those MPs shared the events of that meeting. And number two, the body language of the MPs, the Mount Kenya MPs who attended the current meeting can clearly show you that the meetings that Rigathi Gachagua has been holding in Wamunyoro is shaking Kenya Kwanza to the core. And it is true, the MPs are looking beaten, tired, exhausted, abused, and isolated. Kindly subscribe to our channel. The MPs confronted Kindiki with nothing but the truth. Before I delve into those details, I want to remind you that we are finishing our fundraiser today of supporting our brother Charles, the gentleman you're seeing here. We supported him in December when he was sick. He was suffering meningitis in a private hospital. He was transferred to a public hospital, Mama Lucy, but by God's plan, he died in December. For the last 1 month, that body has been lying there and with little prospects of burial because of financial constraints. So I engaged with the family. They reached out and we promised them that we will give them a check of 100,000 so that they can actually cater for that burial and manage everything. So I want to say thank you. We've done it for the last 3 days. I'm shooting this video. Is it? Yes, 1 or 4. Yeah, sasa saa saba ya usiku. The only deficit I have is 7,000, and we will be handing over this money tomorrow on Friday. We'll engage with the family so that we can hand over the check tomorrow. So kindly, that's just the deficit that remain. And I want to say thank you. We've really done this 3 days and we've pushed through. We've been doing projects, and this is normally a very technical one, but we needed to support so that the body can be taken home for burial. And kidogo yenye imebaki, just top up what we can get so that we get done with it. Now, Rigathi Gachagua, Kindiki held a meeting with the MPs. And one thing I realized is he even failed to mention, or rather acknowledge, that delegation was from Mount Kenya. That is the first observation I realized. And let me just read for you the post. Karen, Nairobi City, Kenya, met a section of MPs to track progress of national government development projects in their areas of representation. Met a section of MPs. And let me tell you, the same day on Thursday, he met a delegation from Taita Taveta, and he said, continuous and deliberate consultation. I want you to compare that post and this one with elected leaders, economic sectors, role players, stakeholders, the result in seamless service. At the conclusion of Taita Taveta County Leaders Forum, agreed on a roadmap for accelerating. And then he also listed names of those MPs or those names of the leaders who attended the Taita Taveta meeting. Now, this meeting with Mount Kenya MPs, Kindiki did not mention individual names That is a very short post because they didn't want to publicize the fact that he met Mount Kenya MPs. It is because the number was less than what was expected. There were some absentees in that meeting. Let's make the next observation. Look at these photos and look at the faces of these MPs. These are some of the close-up photos from that meeting. From the way these faces are very gloomy, there is something you cannot see. The atmosphere in this meeting, in fact, it had to be outside. No one looks happy. In fact, they look isolated, stressed, worried, and troubled by something. And nearly all of them are troubled. We understand, someone was saying, unconfirmed report though, that each MP was given some 200K and as appreciation token. But all in all, they didn't look happy. Maybe I'm the one who is. You can go and search for this. You can go and search for that post. They didn't look happy. They look very worried. Very, very worried about something I'm going to show you because there is something that is troubling these MPs. Number two is the sitting pattern. The sitting arrangement mirrors what Rigathi does in Wamunyoro. So I want you to check this photo, this frame one. This is the sitting arrangement today in Karen. And I agree with those who are making comparison and are saying that Kithure Kindiki borrowed that from Rigathi. Now, if you look at this and the other frame of Rigathi Gachagua meeting delegations in his Wamunyoro residence, you can actually see that one is copying the other. So probably even those who organized this meeting, they want to create that comparison. In fact, they want that discussion of Kindiki versus Rigathi. That is why I want to tell you it is intentional, because I believe even when they were seated there, I know they even joked around and said, we are sitting like Yule Jamaa wa Munyoro. But they wanted it that way so that it will also be a point of discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, that meeting has been called, mapping out projects. I am seeing none of those MPs carrying even a notebook. Kila mtu amejikunja mkono this way and is looking worried. In that meeting, I am not seeing anything development. And of course, even if Kindiki is a robot, can Kindiki be able to map out development for all those 43 MPs in one sitting? Development projects. So that makes me understand and agree that that meeting was not for any development project. That meeting was a political meeting. They are coming together so that they complain and wail against each other. Absentees. Ndindi Nyoro, Sabine Chege. I also didn't see Betty Maina, even though they had met the president earlier. But I can also see Veronica Maina there, but Veronica Maina also was part of the team that met the DP earlier. And many others skipped that meeting. I'm taking key observation on Ndindi Nyoro because previously when Kindiki was meeting the Taita Taveta team, he was talking to them about development, and he said the fact that Ichung'wa is there as the majority leader, they should not have any problem because the chairman of the budget committee is a very small person. And Kindiki dismissed Ndindi Nyoro when I think the leaders who attended, the Taita Taveta leaders, were asking about Ndindi Nyoro.
Most of the things will require parliamentary support. Okay? Like the things we are doing Savo, kuna mambo hapo ya bunge. Number two, many of the issues we want to do for Taita Taveta require budget, si ndio? So mwenye kusukuma hiyo maneno ni kiongozi wa wengi. Rais akishamaliza na maneno yake, mzigo inawekelewa huyo mtu. Wachana hata na chairman ya budget. Huyo chairman ni mtu mdogo, ni kama assistant chief na county commissioner.
So that tells you, and even though Ndindi Nyoro shared a photo later in his social media page saying he was going for exams. So that tells you what's going on there. And really, the president really has broken ranks with Nyoro. Now, why were the MPs frowning? Why were they gloomy? What is their worry? So this is the contents of that meeting. The members of the parliament, drawn from the Mount Kenya, made a brutal admission and a worry on the state of affairs, and they were telling Kindiki right in his face that as things stand, the president have abandoned central Kenya, and the Western leaders are coming out in public to say they will isolate Mount Kenya, standing in front of the president, and the president did not come to correct that. And they told Kindiki that they stand a chance of losing their seats if they continue supporting William Ruto, even though William Ruto is afraid of going to Mount Kenya.
Honorable Wanyama, you are the kind of leaders that this country should never have. The politics of setting one community against others or certain communities against one community is retrogressive. That is the kind of thinking and the kind of utterances that led to the extermination of people in Germany by the Nazis. This is the kind of talk of us against them that ignited the genocide in Rwanda. Honorable Wanyama, you should be ashamed to be a member of parliament in this country. And actually, I have forwarded your clip to the NCIC, and I've also asked the Committee of Parliament on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity to actually write to you to appear before that committee. And we are going to make a recommendation based on your utterances that actually you have grossly violated the Constitution, and on the basis of that, you should lose your seat.
That was clear. That was it. The isolation issue, they raised it on Kindiki. And they said it is much as they are not selling the government agenda, they're not talking about the president himself is not there, and they are left to sell their own projects they are doing, probably with the MPs that are getting CDF. Kithure Kindiki is reported to have promised the MPs that UDA will give them direct tickets, and apart from direct tickets, they will also get financial lifting, and asking them to always accompany the president in his Mount Kenya tours so that the president can take development. They should prepare the ground so that the president can tour the region and counter Rigathi with development projects. So that if projects are developed, if the region gets development, MPs will be able to ride on those development so that they can woo wananchi. Apart from that, they also urged to talk about the cabinet slots that have been given. But this one is a very weak strategy because the president himself is running a politics of us versus them. The 5 days adventure in Western Kenya, the 5 days rallies in Western Kenya, I will one day, I will probably take time at the end of that rally and analyze an overall analysis on that Western Kenya. The overall voice in Western Kenya, and it came after Ruto Musalia signed that ANC UDA deal, is a clear information that Ruto wants to isolate Mount Kenya. It is not a secret. Kindiki, and one of the things is here is this, that in 2027, Mount Kenya might not get the deputy president slot. Kindiki is struggling to say that the position is intact, but when the right time comes, even though that decision rests with the president, but it will be subjected to a popular vote just like it was done last time, then whoever will carry the day will have it. And telling the Mount Kenya MPs that if they can marshal their numbers, they will be able to retain the deputy president slot. Why is it necessary? It is necessary because in any case Ruto drops Kindiki for the running mate slot, then all those central Kenya MPs around President Ruto will consider themselves going home. And that is one of the things worrying, because if Ruto is not going to Mount Kenya and is spending more time in Western, it means you might take even that running mate that side. There is a request that was rejected, and this one is the most difficult one. Why MPs are not taking on Rigathi Battalion head-on? Why are they not showing president that they're supporting the president? The MPs are keen that it will be suicidal for them now as we talk to be seen as undermining Rigathi Gachagua. It's only Kimani Chungwa who is doing it. And it's getting a lot of development. It spends more time in Kikuyu constituency doing development. So, the MPs were tasked to counter Rigathi, something that is becoming extremely difficult and suicidal for them. Because if you go against Rigathi and Rigathi feels a candidate on your constituency, things might not turn well for you. There is the tremor of Rigathi's party being launched in February. And that party is directly going to replace UDA in Mount Kenya. Now, if you see the new UDA, it is anchored around Ruto and Musalia, without any Mount Kenya party included in it. And these MPs understand that when UDA is dead, they don't have a political vehicle for Mount Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua will launch his new party and start moving across the country. That is a problem for them. Ladies and gentlemen, what was the political objective of this meeting? Of course, the broader picture is the Nairobi campaigns is part of the broader national campaigns, 2027 campaigns, that President Ruto have started. President Ruto is in the rallies. Back in Nairobi, the deputy is meeting delegations. I will tell Kalonzo and Rigathi what they need to do. These folks are back in the campaign trail. This meeting was called so that Kindiki can establish a center of power. You want to establish some MPs that can coalesce around him for his support, especially Mount Kenya. The second issue, I think, is Ruto is supposed to tour Mount Kenya sometime. I'm told that that tour has been postponed for God knows how many times. But I think they will also want to gather intelligence from MPs. What is the extent of Rigathi popularity there? The MPs are very brutal. They are very truthful with Kindiki that Rigathi is not a pushover and is deep-rooted in Mount Kenya. There is an attempt to forestall silent exodus of MPs that might be salivating for the new UDA, for the new Rigathi party. Quite a number of these MPs, this meeting was called because quite a number of these MPs are talking and meeting Rigathi at night. Apart from these public Wamunyoro meetings, there are private night meetings probably that are not in full glare of the cameras. And whip MPs to join the scheme on attacking Rigathi Gachagua. I think it will not be easy. And I can tell any MP from Mount Kenya, if you still really want to get your way, It is good you can run the national agenda, but politics is local. Mount Kenya has gone with Rigathi, and you can't change it. As much as you might want to impress Ruto, but you need to be brutally honest with yourself. It's not going to be easy to change. Thank you.